Peter, hi, thanks for joining me on today's Spotlight. It's Peter Laybourn from International Synergies Ltd. Peter, over to you. Introduce us to your business, please.
Thank you, Andy. International Synergies Limited, we're a small SME, Andy, with offices in Birmingham, which is our headquarters, and an office out in Belfast. And we've been delivering carbon and cost savings to businesses around the world for over 20 years now. And we do that through a technique called industrial symbiosis, which is actually becoming all the rage with the advent of the circular economy and the sustainable development goals. But essentially what industrial symbiosis is we consider that waste is just a resource in the wrong place. And very quick example of that, if I'm a baker and I will have a lot of eggshells as waste, but as a baker, I don't know that it's got valuable calcium in, valuable collagen, which are high value to other sectors of industry. So working cross sectors is not easy. And so we've developed a facilitated model of IS, whereby the facilitation helps overcome those market failures of information, of knowledge, of time poverty, particularly for SMEs. But the good thing, Andy, is that we've found over all these years that 80% of the business opportunities we've uncovered through this technique fall outside one's own sector. So there's a vast opportunity out there for businesses to if you like, to cash in.
Interesting.
So we've been delivering this model in the UK since about 2002, and we've enabled international partners to do virtually the same thing through capacity building and training. And we also help, if you like, governments, whether it be at a local, regional, or national level, we help show them how to prepare and foster industrial symbiosis, in their locality. And we support all of this with our award-winning Synergy software. And this hosts data on thousands of matches that have happened in the past. And we currently hold, I think, about 100,000 resources in that database. So a very useful, if you like, additional tool that we have to do our work. And because of all that, we've now, as of last year, we've completed projects in over 50 countries around the world.
Wow.
Yeah. So we live up to our name of international.
You certainly do. So you may have alluded to this already, Peter, really, but what would you say makes you stand out from your competition?
I think, Andy, there's probably about four areas, but briefly, there are our global experience from around the world. We work inclusively, and that means we work with companies of all sectors, all sizes, even with the innovators as well. So it's very inclusive. And our credibility, I think, comes from our frontline delivery experience. So day after day after day after day, we work with businesses, and that hasn't altered in the 20-odd years we've been doing this. And finally, as I've mentioned, we've got a fairly sophisticated software that helps us do this, which has been designed and developed continuously over those 20 years. So, so by doing this, I think we stimulate innovation with what we do, and it's enabled this tiny little company from Birmingham to enter the world stage. And we even hosted a G7 meeting back in 2015 at the behest of the German government. So we did the first ever G7 workshop on industrial symbiosis, and that was hosted here in Birmingham. And again, our Synergy software deals with that complexity around resources. It's not like an eBay. resources come with contaminants, minimum economic quantities. There's all kinds of issues around them,
Yeah.
and there's all kinds of different, processing technologies. So we've, again, built up this software over the years to handle that complexity.
Very interesting. So 20 years has got you here. What about the next 5 years, maybe, in terms of the business, Peter? Where's that going?
Well, we're delighted to see that increasingly that industrial symbiosis is being included in policy.
Yeah.
And also it's now being included as a standard. So, for example, International Synergies chaired the European pre-standard on industrial symbiosis, and we expect that to go to a full standard in the not too distant future.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, where you've got policy and standards, that tends to drive the market in that direction. So what we'll do, we'll continue to promote, based on our successes, industrial symbiosis right around the world, but we'll also completely cement the connection between industrial symbiosis and net zero and scope 3 emissions.
Mm-hmm.
But virtually every sector, scope 3 is the biggest challenge when it comes to emissions.
Yeah.
Industrial symbiosis, because it deals with materials up and down the supply chain, is particularly good at addressing those scope 3 emissions. And virtually every country now is adopting a net zero strategy. So we think the market is actually arriving on our doorstep because of that. And we hope to help and encourage companies in the future. And we think they will see through time, over time, that this challenge actually just become an opportunity for them to embed resource efficiency and circular economy thinking in their business, with the amazing rates of return you can get on that.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating. So I guess huge opportunities for the business if you choose to exploit them. Brilliant. Yeah. Very good. So the little one in Birmingham might become a bit of a bigger one in Birmingham.
It could. It could, yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So what's been your biggest learning, Peter, on your journey as a business owner?
I think I thought long and hard about this one, and I came to the conclusion is that it's surrounding yourself with clever people. Because an individual just doesn't have all the skills that's needed. You need a good team around you, and perhaps avoid the temptation to recruit in your own image, as it were.
Yeah.
I think diversity is key.
Yes.
Having people with different life experiences and different experiences. And then I think maintaining your core expertise whilst at the same time, looking for innovation to meet market needs. So that's probably our biggest learning.
Right. And what about your biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, there's been a few.
After 20 years, I'd be surprised if there weren't.
Yeah, and of course, the biggest challenges have been the shocks that happen, which by definition you get very little advance warning of. Mm-hmm. So we grew up around a very major UK government investment, and that was so successful. It was the National Industrial Symbiosis Programme that went from 2005 to 2013, and it was remarkably successful. And as a consequence, I think the government decided, well, if it's so beneficial for businesses, then they can pay for it, forgetting that it was addressing the market failures. So that support was withdrawn with very little notice, and that led to a very painful period, actually, Andy, where we had to let some very good people go. Mm-hmm. And that was hard to do, really hard. But we bounced back. We focused a bit more on Europe, and we were very successful across Europe. And then, of course, would you believe it, Brexit? So we still have a good presence in Europe, but it's been harder to maintain, because of Brexit.
Yeah.
So once again, we've, kept on that mixed portfolio of clients. So we focus a bit more on private sector, UK clients, and on countries outside of Europe. So just recently, we've been working in Turkey, Israel, Bangladesh, Uzbekistan, to name a few. Right. So we cast our net quite wide. But we just recovered from that, and and got our mixed portfolio going quite well. Then COVID hit. Mm-hmm. So with that, we had to very rapidly think about how we delivered our services, and again, be quite innovative in the way we did that. Sure. And I think by being quite small, you can also be quite agile, and I think that helps in reacting to these kind of shocks. And quite honestly, some of the things that we did because of COVID, we've actually embedded into the business because mm-hmm. we've seen it as being more efficient. So even with bad news like COVID, there can be some good things coming out of it, and we've learned some good lessons from that. So yeah, biggest challenges are these shocks that come along from time to time, and with little warning, and it's how you react to them, I think, which is key.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. If you were sitting here with the knowledge you have now, having a discussion with your 18-year-old self, what would you say?
Oh, I wouldn't like to talk to my 18-year-old self.
Most people say that, actually.
Yeah, I think I was a bit of a terror, but what it would be is, I would say, get as many different work experiences as you can, because mm-hmm. I think they will serve you well throughout your career. So, for example, I didn't find my passion in industrial symbiosis until my mid-40s. Mm-hmm. And before then, I'd had a career in aerospace. I worked in local government, worked for a charity, I'd been self-employed. But combining all those experiences together, I think, helped me make a success of what we're doing now. Yeah. And I guess it would be piece of advice that it's never too late either. I never set out to start a company, but it happened to me in my mid-40s. Yeah. So I think when you do find that passion, just stick to it and don't let anybody dissuade you from following your passion.
Yeah, agreed. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Thank you. So what's the one piece of advice you'd give to other business owners, Peter?
Oh, that's a toughie. The one piece of advice.
Yeah, you just got to pick one. the pearl of wisdom.
Yeah. Stick to your knitting, but keep on reinventing it in a way that's relevant to the market.
Yeah, very pertinent. So
don't lose your core, but keep on refreshing, adapting it to market conditions. Yeah. And that's what we have done now for 20 odd years, and we're still here, thank goodness.
And I think the pace of that needs to keep increasing, doesn't it? Because everything seems to be changing much faster.
Yes, and I think everybody's heard now of the challenges around AI and how to use it, and then we've got other shocks on the way, I'm sure. Material scarcity and security are big on people's agendas now. Yeah. So it's how we react to those shocks again, being adaptable, being innovative. Yeah. That's key.
Brilliant. Thank you. So obviously all of your contact details will be included below this video. So easy way for people to get in touch. So anybody who could benefit from symbiosis that you've talked about would be you would be a great point of contact. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Peter, in terms of the best ways to get in touch or what the next steps are?
Well, we'd be delighted to get in touch through either through the website, which has got an info address, or indeed direct to myself, and I can pass on to the relevant colleagues in the organisation.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for all your insights, and wish you every success with your business going forward, Peter.
Much appreciated, Andy. Thank you very much.
Thanks.